Welcome guys, my name is Albert, and in this video we are going to be breaking down a video that you guys requested that I react to, right? This is a dating coach. She goes by WINGMAM, right? And she talks about the reasons why women do not take accountability in their relationships. Guys, if you have not already, guys, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Turn on post notifications so you don't miss any of my future videos. Hit this video with a like. It really helps us in the YouTube algorithm. Okay, so now here's my thing. I don't usually like guys taking advice from women dating coaches. That's just my thing. But you guys asked me to react to it, so I'm assuming that she has some good points. So let's dive right into this topic.
Hey guys, in this video we are going to talk about the 5 reasons why women fail to take responsibility in relationships and the 3 simple steps that you can do to help her take some responsibility. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm Anna Jorgensen. I'm a dating coach for men in Vancouver, Canada. Okay, let's first of all, say that I'm wearing my Jesus shirt today because if any women watch this video, I'm gonna need some help from the Lord. So let's just jump right into the 5 reasons why women neglect to take responsibility for their part in what is dysfunctional in relationships. So the first thing is society, also known as social conditioning, also known as feminism. Women are growing up in a different age these days where there's a feminist movement that has basically spoiled women. Sorry ladies, but in some ways this is absolutely true. All you have to do is look at the divorce situation and what's happening in the courts, and men are getting the shaft big time in divorces, and that's just one area.
Yep, that's why I say, guys, never get married. So far, so good. She's making some good points. Honestly, social conditioning is a big reason why women never take accountability. That's where that quote comes. Happy wife, happy life, right? She's always right, right? Believe all women. No matter what, she's always right. All right, so this is one of the big reasons why women do not take accountability, because they believe there is this narrative that men are dumb and women are smarter, right? So they obviously can't make mistakes, which is absolutely wrong. Men and women do make mistakes, right? So if you make a mistake, you got to take accountability for it. And if the girl that you're dealing with makes a mistake, you have to be the one to be like, yo, you made a mistake, because remember, you're the leader, so you have to lead.
Yes, I know that women are getting literally unwanted shaft in other areas, but one negative doesn't beget or doesn't justify another negative. So aside from that, the reality here is that social conditioning has rewarded women for bad behavior. We're going to go into, again, what you can do about this as a guy or as a woman later. So the number 2 thing, and these are not in any particular order, but the second thing that is causing women to lack responsibility or to pass the buck or blame the man in relationships is social media. So I like to call it Insta slut. So yeah, politically incorrect, welcome to my channel. But the reality is that because women can use social media to collect a really large audience, they really are influencing not only men by the provocative and sometimes really slutty pictures they put on social media, but they're influencing other women to do the same thing because they're being rewarded by having lots of subscribers, lots of followers, lots of fans who are encouraging bad behavior. And what's bad behavior? Well, bad behavior is subjective, but it's the behavior that, as a man, you really don't want your woman, there's another one they're going to get me for, but you don't want your partner displaying to the general public. Maybe you do if you're also a narcissist and your ego is attached to their fame or what have you, but the average Joe doesn't want his girl putting out all her assets to the world. So
that is very true. There's a video that I'm going to put out tomorrow that actually dives deep into this. Not letting your girl, again, this falls on you as the man. You have to be the leader. You have to correct bad behavior. You have to basically train your girl to be actually better than who she is, right? Because a lot of guys are letting their girlfriends put up these provocative pictures on social media. And remember, guys, society rewards women for being bad women, right? The more provocative she is on social media, the more loose she seems, the more slutty she seems on social media, the more likes she's gonna get, right? The more money she's gonna get, the more people are gonna simp on her, right? So she now is programmed, well, the worse I behave, the more I get rewarded, right? So that translates into her real life, because she now starts to think, well, I don't need to be nice. I don't need to be submissive. I can just flaunt all my goodies online and have this for sale sign for everybody to see, and I'm gonna get rewarded, right? So I do agree with that.
That's the second thing. And then the third part of this is, sorry ladies, but single moms. The statistics don't support a positive outcome of the huge influx of single moms we've seen in the last generation or so. And what's happening there is that a lot of women, and I have experienced this firsthand with people that I've known and worked with, and even friends, that have a bad attitude towards men. If they're a single mom, it's because their relationship didn't work out, and if they accept responsibility, then they're going to have a huge amount of guilt. Now, side note is women who have children, they're just born with guilt, or the woman isn't born with guilt, but as soon as a child is born, there's just this guilt that's dumped on them internally, because they, just because that's the reality of motherhood, is that there's just huge amounts of guilt that women feel when they're mothers, because they're never feeling like they're doing a good enough job, no matter how great they are. Like, that's just the reality of motherhood. But the thing that influences relationships is that when a woman becomes a single mom, and because the relationship hasn't worked out, she will typically want to blame the man because it doesn't make her look bad in her own eyes, or potentially subconsciously in her child's eyes. The second thing that will happen, or potentially can happen, is that she will replace the guy. So she's setting an example for her daughter or her son, or generally the world at large, that men are easily replaced even if you are a single mom. So, it's just the nature of things, but all of this has a compounding effect on how women are handling responsibility and accountability in relationships. So the fourth thing that...
Look, I have made countless videos on single moms and why you shouldn't date them. And this is fantastic. She summarized it up perfectly. Single moms have a thing where it's like they are used to not taking responsibility for their action. Every single mom that I've ever talked to has always blamed the dad, right? Zero accountability. So if you are dealing with a single mom, imagine she has been trained and has this inbuilt programming to blame men for her problem. So when you get into a relationship with her, she now transfers that same programming onto you. She will not, everything that goes wrong in your relationship becomes your fault, right? So you don't want to do that. Very, very fantastic so far. I'm giving her an A so far, right? A plus so far.
Will cause women to want to unconsciously pass the buck or not accept responsibility or blame is survival instinct. And basically what that looks like internally for a woman is that, again, because she's typically already feeling guilty about failure in relationships, and everybody actually does this, is that people generally don't want to be wrong, because if they're wrong, then there's a self-perceived and potentially other perceived lower value. And if there's lower value, then she risks being left behind or being treated more poorly than if she has high value. Anybody who has higher value is going to be treated better than someone who has lower value. Even though that's not right, that's typically what happens in the world in relationships, not just in romantic relationships as well. So that's another reason for it. I'm not saying any of this is right. None of this is healthy, but it's just the way it is. So if you understand it, then it might help you understand the steps that I'm going to give you coming up on how to deal with this, so that we can hopefully start to change the direction of how women are reacting in relationships. And so the number 5 thing, which brings me to the number 5 thing.
Honestly, I have nothing to say on that one. Like, spot on. Like, I'm like speechless. Like, that she is actually getting this right. Because usually, when I hear female dating coaches, I just have so much to say, and like, there's like disagreements. But in her case, she's just hitting the nail on the head, right? Hitting the nail on the head. There is one thing that you have to understand as a man: women lack accountability, right? They lack the ability to take responsibility for their failures. And I'm not saying all women, I'm saying most of them, right? So when you're dealing with a woman, you have from the beginning, right? When it's her fault, you must make sure that she knows it's her fault, right? She has to come to you to apologize when it's her fault. When you're wrong, remember, you're the leader. When you're wrong, you can say, look, I was wrong. But when she's wrong, you make sure that you say, yo, this is wrong and this is unacceptable. Unacceptable, because you will probably be the first guy in her life that put his foot down and set boundaries, right? Because internally in them, they don't want to feel guilt. They don't want to take that responsibility. So you as a man has to lead. You have to lead. Okay? Let's keep going.
Is social justice warriors, also known as suckers like Steve. And I just used the name Steve because it's an S and it rhymes with suckers. So social justice warriors are the beta male orbiters who are supporting women in their bad behavior, whether it's with radical feminism. That's really not fair. There's a difference between certain areas of equality and just man hating, basically. And there are men who are standing beside women in the wrong ways. And a lot of those men are nice guys, not in the terms of a good man or a kind guy or something actually genuine, but they're the nice guys in the way that we talk about in Dr. Robert Glover's book, No More Mr. Nice Guy. They're the passive-aggressive guys who really actually have an ulterior motive, and they may not be aware of it consciously, but their motive is really to get women to like them so that eventually they'll sleep with them, which usually doesn't happen. But they orbit around hoping that their good behavior or their support of women's plight will get them laid, and that is not working to help either men or women actually come together in a way that is functional and loving and effective for both sides. We want to have a win-win, and that's why I always try to focus on the positive, even though these are all facts and statistics that you can look for. Like, what's the positive way to handle this? So that brings us to the 3 simple.
So she said something there, orbiters, right? That's why if you're dealing with a girl and she's your girlfriend or wife, that's why it's not good to have your significant other or somebody that you're in a relationship with have male friends, right? Because usually these male friends that she has friend zoned will, anytime she brings up something bad, they will always be on her side. They will encourage the bad behaviors. Like she said, they will encourage her like, oh no, yeah, that's right, girl. Your boyfriend is wrong, right? The guy that you're dealing with is wrong. You're right. They will always try to be on her good side because they think that they're going to get some, not knowing that she's just using them as an emotional tampon. But it still has a negative effect on her because they are allowing her to relinquish her responsibility and accountability, right? Then she comes back and she says, oh, well, these guys think I'm right. Well, no, you're not right, right? When a woman is wrong, you have to let her know that she is wrong. Now, women that don't take accountability, this is, again, very perfect. Orbiters, men in society, this is my annoyance with guys that are beta, guys that are weak, guys that are submissive towards women, because they encourage and reward her when she's acting badly. Hence why women do not take accountability, right? Because they deal with so much betatization of men in our society today, right? Because those men don't have a backbone, they don't have a spine, right? If she says something that is wrong, they're going to agree with her. And then she thinks, oh, well, I guess I'm right because since they're agreeing with me, right? People don't keep it real with most women. That's why sometimes when you're dealing with her, I always say, you have to reprogram her mind, right? You have to bring her back into reality. These women, most of them, I'm not saying all of them, I've met some that actually took accountability, but most of them live in a Disney fantasy land, right? And you are the one that has to be the one to actually reel her back into reality with the right leadership.
Steps that men can do to help women get back on track to being able to.
Okay, so let's see what steps she actually says, because so far the 5 reasons I really agree with. I wholeheartedly agree with.
Be honest and to be able to take ownership for their part in where the relationship is dysfunctional. And that, and again, this is not just with romantic relationships. So the first thing is that you've got to stop rewarding bad behavior. An example is stop following women on Instagram who are not the kind of woman you'd want to marry. Like, we're not talking about the women that you just want to have sex with. You've got to stop rewarding those women with your likes and your comments and your follows. Like, stop encouraging that bad behavior in social media. As far as feminism is.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Perfect. Guys, go to your social media right now, right? I wholeheartedly agree with this. Stop giving them the attention that they are seeking. Because like we said in the beginning, women are rewarded for bad behavior. When she's acting like a hoe or when she's acting like a slut, oh man, so many likes and comments follows. You know? No, you can't do that anymore. Do not reward her with your let those other guys reward her. That's fine. But for you, you have to set the standard in your world. Very good. Very, very good. I so far so good.
Feminism is, as far as feminism goes, or society, you need to be able to have discussions with women about where they are perhaps not considering the other side in a way that doesn't get them riled up, because women are very emotional. Our emotional center in our brain is 8 times bigger than a man's. It's tied to long-term memory and even actually short-term memory. So we react differently because our biology, our neurology is different than a man's. So we essentially need to stop rewarding bad behavior. And the second thing that goes along with that is that, like I said, we need to start letting women know where they've contributed in ways that are not working for them ultimately in relationships with men. Because the thing is, if women don't start taking accountability and ownership of what they're doing, then it's not going to change. Relationships are not going to improve, and there's going to be more and more single moms and single women and single men, because men are not putting up with this anymore, and they're going their own way. And there's all these other, philosophies and factions that are the result of women's bad behavior. Sorry, ladies, I'm a woman, but once you actually understand this, you realize the truth of it, and you realize that we actually have a lot of power in society in where we are actually taking relationships. And right now, we're not taking them in a positive direction, which means that men need to actually tell women what they're actually doing wrong.
Yes, and what she's not saying is you have to be the leader. Again, it comes back to that. Leadership is very important. When you are dealing with your woman, like I said, she imagines someone that has dealt with so many beta guys and she's been leading, right? Like I always say, if you let a woman lead in a relationship, she will lead you to the end of that relationship. Why? Because she is so used to getting rewarded for bad behavior. So you, as a dominant leader, as a benevolent dominant leader, you have to train her, right, in the right way. Train her and say, look, if you do something bad, this is what's going to happen. When she does something bad, you speak up. You're like, no, that is wrong. That is not the way we do things, right? You let her know, like, look, with you, this is not acceptable. Every time a woman needs to take accountability when she's interacting with you, speak up. Speak up. This is very, very important. Trust me, it will build so much respect. She will have so much respect for you. Trust me.
So doesn't mean being angry, because angry doesn't work. Any negative feeling, not only does it poke the bear, I like to say poke the bear, negative emotion will trigger negative emotion in women. And it actually is quite similar with men and women, except that men don't react. Right.
Okay, and I didn't mean to stop it there, but why you never show any kind of anger and emotion? Because even though she says that most women will get angry, yeah, some women will get angry, but there are some women that are just cold and they will know that they have gotten to you, right? So you have to be stoic when you tell her. You cannot let her see that she got you emotionally riled up, right?
Because they don't have the 8-time bigger emotional center in the brain, so you mull things over, even though you do get angry, but it takes more. Anyways, anger doesn't work with women. Negativity doesn't work with women. Compassionate understanding is what will potentially work with women. Not all women. It will take time for some women to get the message, but it'll only happen if all men will educate women in a compassionate way, just like I've said in some of my other videos, like treat them like children, for they know not what they do, right? So you love someone, if you really love women, you want to help them understand their own folly, because they're really not aware. I used to be there. I used to be, what I consider a feminist, and it took me a while before I was like, wait a minute, this is not right. And it wasn't until actually I started coaching and I was working with women and realized how difficult it is to work with women, and I am a woman. So that's when I thought, men really need a lot of help, and the only way for me to help men succeed with women is to help men be effective with women, so that we can change the...
I will say more stoic. When you speak to a woman, you have to be more stoic. You cannot show emotion. You have to tell her things matter of fact. There has to be no emotion coming from your face when you are correcting a bad behavior, right? There has to, because if you show a woman that she moved you off your center, she's going to lose respect for you, and she's not going to listen to what you are saying. You have to say what you say and mean what you say. I don't know if you guys have ever watched The Mandalorian, but there was, can I forget his name, but his famous quote was, "I have spoken." Basically, he tells the Mandalorian what he wants to tell him. If the Mandalorian has an excuse or any other comment to add, all his reply to the Mandalorian is, "I have spoken." There is no emotion. He's not angry. No, you say what you need to say. You make sure that bad behavior is corrected, and you move on. You move on, right? And here's the thing: if she is not, she's not able to fix that bad behavior, you have to let her go. You have to let her go. No emotions. You're not angry. Again, stoic. You have spoken. Okay.
Attitudes of women towards men in a positive way. So that is number 2, is that you've got to be able to tell her specifically what's not working and why, but in a way that is non-confrontational, and then you just leave it at that. And if enough guys will do that, the next man does the same thing for her, the next man, and not to her, but for her, then eventually, maybe she'll clue in that what she's doing isn't working for her or in any relationship, and maybe she'll change. And even if not, then she's not rewarded by having another relationship. So that brings me to step number 3, is walking away. If a woman is not taking responsibility or taking ownership, participating in what she's done in a relationship to cause conflict or to cause discord, then you need to walk away from the deal. Whoever has the more willingness to walk away from the deal has the greater negotiating power. And I don't mean that in a way that is negative to a relationship. It's just the reality of relationships. And if you are willing to walk away, she might have the inclination to consider why she's constantly being walked away from, if she's given the information for her to consider why men are walking away from her. So don't reward bad behavior. That's the bottom line. Don't reward bad behavior, but don't be angry. Or if you are angry, don't express it outwardly, because it won't help. Yes, it's frustrating, but here we're looking for what's effective in making change. And outwardly expressing anger or any other negative emotion is not going to work in your or her favor.
And we are going to stop it there. Honestly, that was perfect. She hit every single point was just right on, and I agree with her. Right? Like I said, and she said it at the end. we as men have to take responsibility for the way our women are acting. If a woman is acting badly, she's misbehaving in your presence, it's your job, right, to fix and correct that behavior, right? You have to correct that behavior because you are the leader. Now, again, stoic. There's no emotion, there's no anger. You're not angry because if she sees that she has moved you off your center, she's going to lose respect for you, right? And then finally, if she does not change, if she doesn't course correct, that's fine. But you don't have to reward her with any more of your masculine attention. That's when you just leave her and leave her alone, because she is now just not good for you. Because here's the thing, you don't want someone to affect you as a person, right? So guys, that is the video for today. If you have not already, guys, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications so you don't miss any of my future videos. Guys, hit this video with a like. Any comments that you guys have, leave it for me in the comment sections below. It really helps the channel grow. With that, I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.